This is a guide to training a serpentine, also called an S-line or snake line. So to give this first part a go, you're going to need 4 obstacles, spaced an arm width apart. I'm using jump wings just because that's what I've got access to, but this could be anything. If you opt for stick in the ground poles, angling them towards you is going to help your dog find distance. Firstly, guide them around the circle using food as a lure. When you can get around the full circle for one treat, you're ready to go to the next step. The next step is to handle in the same way but with an empty hand and reward after. Again, your goal here is to complete a full circle for one reward and then you're ready to make the circle a bit bigger. As the circle gets bigger, your goal here is to handle more remotely, standing in the middle with the dog moving independently around the outside. With your dog starting in the middle with you, you can use the arm and leg closest to them to bowl them as you say out and then send them around the circle, picking a fixed point as you drop your arm saying in. Your dog is learning that out is a cue to move further away from the handler and in draws them in closer. Now, because you've got 4 points on the circle, if you always pull them in at the same point, they'd start to predict the pattern. So instead, keep it random so that the dog isn't guessing. If you need a tighter response to your in, instead you can use your opposite arm in a move that's called a false turn. Jumps can be angled on the S line to make the serpentine more beginner friendly to start with. And then a more advanced setup would be to see them arranged in a straight line. The 4-point drill has taught the dog that when the handler's arm is out, they should hold distance. As the handler's arm drops, paired with a verbal in, they should come towards the handler over the jump. And then again, when the handler's arm goes out, paired with a verbal out, that's a cue for them to move away. So in real time, out, in, in. If you'd like to give serpentine training a go, my suggestion would be to replicate the session that you've just seen, starting with that 4-point drill. So you take 4 obstacles about arm width apart and you're going to begin by luring the dog using a reward. In that example, as using food, but it could always be a toy instead if that is more motivating for your dog. When they can complete a full circle for one reward, you're ready to go to fading the lure, which means now the dog is following you, not food, which is going to make it easier to ultimately add distance. Now, in terms of distance, you want to aim to have obstacles between 5 and 7 paces apart. Once your dog is able to move remotely around the outside of the circle as you stand in the middle, you're ready to change your setup where they begin inside the circle with you. Using the arm and leg closest to them, you bowl them out as you give them the verbal out, teaching them that out is a cue to move away. And then you keep your arm out as you circle, dropping your arm paired with the verbal in, teaching them a pulling cue. And then finally, you're ready to try it on a jump or jumps. If you don't have 3 like I do in the video, you can always use a single obstacle and use a sit stay to replicate the angles.